Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another Historic Brawl gameplay video, this time featuring a Tatyova Benthic Druid deck again. So for watchers of the channel will have seen that I actually played Tatyova last week, but I did put a post up on Tuesday saying that I really wasn't happy with the deck and how it performed. I thought it could be better, and because Foundations came out on Tuesday, Tatyova got a reprint of Foundations and there are a couple new cards which would improve the deck, and they are Mossborn Hydra, 3 mana, 0/0 with trample, and it enters with a +1/+1 counter on it. It has landfall, double the amount of counters on the creature, so you play a land, it goes up to 2, play another land, up to 4, 8, 16, and so on. And then the other one is Rampage and Baloffs, 6 mana, 6/6 with trample, and then it has landfall. We may create a 4/4 green beast creature token. I don't know why you wouldn't want to, but it is a may trigger. This version of the deck, I've leaned a bit more into the blue side of things with some counter spells, namely, more like counter spell and mana drain. Also have an Agent Rafine, which 1 mana 1/2. We can pay 2 and tap it to choose target opponent. We conjure a duplicate of the top card of a library into our hand. We may spend mana of any card to cast a spell, and then they basically exile that card. So obviously, if that's a land, we can get lands from our opponent. Or, obviously other useful cards. The reality is this deck has done better than last week's deck, but the problem is Tatyova is not a powerful commander. Yes, that landfall trigger of gain a life, draw a card is powerful, but that trigger itself isn't going to win the game. It's going to draw you into things to win the game, but the problem is you have just spent 5 mana on a 3/3 that does nothing else, and a 3/3 dies to all the target removal, Infernal Grasp, go for the throat, shoot the sheriff. Don't think it dies to walk the plank. I think walk the plank is non-merfolk. But because of that 3 toughness, it dies to lightning bolt. It dies to Wizard's Lightning, I think, 2 mana, deal 3. It dies to Brotherhood's End. It dies to Mars Grass, which is target creature gets -3, -3. It dies to Lockthwain Scorn, which is the adventure side of Virtual Persistent. Target creature gets -3, -3. It dies to a huge amount of things. It's not a particularly good blocker. You can't attack with it. Not that you generally want to attack with it. So, but it also, the deck needs a critical mass of lands and, searching up lands and playing extra lands that you can't really go that big on the finishers because you'll just never draw the lands with Tatyova. And, there have been games where I've won without even playing Tatyova, or you play Tatyova, it gets removed, and you're not going to pay 7 mana for a 3/3. So, but you've ramped so hard, you just play out, all your big finishers, which in really, a Brawl deck that is kind of better without your commander is a bit of an issue. And say 5 mana for 3/3, that is rough. And realistically, because you need to play a land the turn you play it to get that value, you're playing it on. You're not playing it the turn the first turn you can cast Tatyova. You're playing it on the next one to get that value and hoping you have a land in hand. So I'm not going to go through the deck individually, but obviously, as you can imagine, it is a lot of ramp. We do have creature-based ramp in like Llanowar Elves, Elvish Mystic, Delighted Halfling, Birds of Paradise. We do have early land ramp in a Boreal Graze and Kami of Bamboo Groves, which lets us put as extra land on the battlefield, which is great if we can say Kami turn 1, turn 2, play a 3rd land, play out a 3-drop, or and then turn 3 play Tatyova. That's really, really good. We also have ways to play additional lands on each of our turns. Generally, Oracle of Muldiah, case of the locked hothouse, as well as just ways to get extra lands onto the battlefield. From the top of our library as well, Augur of Autumn and Corso Crucifix lets us play lands from the top of our library. We've also got Dryad, which lets us play additional lands, and Wayward Sawtooth. Crucible of Worlds lets us play lands from our graveyard, and it's really, really good if we have a fetch land in our graveyard with Crucible of Worlds and additional ways to play additional lands. We can just play the same card from our graveyard, basically. We have a lot of landfall triggers like the aforementioned Hydra and Balos, but we also have Lotus Cobra and Nissa, which lets us generate extra mana. Bristly Bill puts counters on creatures. Scoot Swarm just creates extra tokens. Same with Springheart and Tuco. And then the tireless provisions and trackers, which you'll see in most green decks, either produce a clue or a food or treasure. And obviously Mythweaver Pock doesn't really have a landfall trigger, but it does trigger on landfall, and regular viewers of the channel will know how much I hate Pock. I know it's alchemy, but I think it's, as a commander, I think it's not in the spirit of the game, basically. But hell, I was trying to make a good deck, so I put it in. And sometimes it absolutely bonkers, because while the trigger only triggers once each turn, if you get multiple lands on the battlefield at once, that trigger affects all the lands. So if you, for example, Invasion of Zendikar, put on your 2 basic lands with Pock out, you'll get a copy of each of those lands, not just one of them. So that's pretty powerful. For our endgame, we have a Shire, which will just be huge. Turns all our creatures into land creatures, which means whenever we play a creature with Tatyova, we'll also get that trigger. Ancient Green Warden lets us play lands from our graveyard, but also doubles the triggers for lands entering the battlefield, so it doubles Tatyova's trigger and all our landfall triggers. Lumra gets all lands back from our graveyard, and it has power toughness equal to our lands. Primeval Titan, when it enters and attacks, we get lands. Already mentioned Rampage and Bailoff. Soul Fraley is not really a finisher, but he does let us draw and gain a huge amount of life. And then Nissa, who shake the world. We can get in with turning our lands into 3/3s, and if we get up to that ultimate, which is not particularly difficult because it starts at 5, you only get up to +8. It makes all our lands indestructible as well. So that is a deck. It is not as powerful as I think on first glance it should be, and in reality, there's a reason Tatyova is uncommon, not rare or mythic. Part of me thinks they should make a card like Tatyova with exactly the same thing, but at rare and mythic. Increases power and toughness, like. There we do have another Tatyova, which is a 3-mana 4/4. That makes a lot more sense. I think that, I don't know if Wizards use a point-based or scoring system for their, how powerful their cards are, but I think they've overscored this landfall trigger, because 5-mana 3/3 is absolutely rough. But when it works, it really, really, really does work. But when it doesn't work, as I said, you've paid 5 mana for a 3/3, it gets removed. You've got to pay 7 mana at that point. You may as well not play your commander again. So I hope you do enjoy watching it. If you do, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the gameplay. We are on the draw again. Reveal our island. Well, there's very little point as playing out our Nissa now, because they will literally just attack it down. And we could have bounced the Bone Crusher Giant beforehand, but then they were just stomped Nissa. Create a treasure. Well, let's Azusa. and we can hold up Cyclonic Rift. Or even sink into Stupor. I'm going to take this. See if we can hit something else. We can literally overload Cyclonic Rift, which we will be doing on their turn. I imagine they pump. They can replay most things out. Or we can replay out Tatyova and destroy their Victory of the Pyro Hammer. We don't have another land. Tatyova is so weak. I'm not going to block. This does enter untapped due to Spelunking. And I think this might be an infinite combo. Oh no. Oh, because it's non-token creatures. Yeah. Probably should have taken out Khan's Silex. Yeah, they... Did they just miscount? One, two, three. So they did 6. Oh, non-land permanent. They're lands because of a Shire. Up against OG Atraxa, so a proliferate deck. Our opponent goes first. But I don't really like this hand. I like this one less. But at least we can Cami and get Restless Vinestalk down. We can't actually cast anything with this, so... I really need to draw a land. They're going to play out Atraxa. Oh, Cold Vein Hydra. It can attack in straight away. We need land. That is... It's a tap land. That's not what we needed. If we find a untapped land or fetch land, we can River's Rebuke. But that ain't it. At least we can play our Arcane Signet. There is a Traxxar. We'll chump their 6/6. Right, we have 7. If I pay Tatyova, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I can't River's Rebuke at the same time. Well, I just have to River's Rebuke. At least we can hold up mana drain. That's not a problem. At least Tatyova can block that. Land, please. I will keep Primeval Titan just for how powerful it is. Cavern of Souls. They do come into play tapped. I have a lot of islands. I honestly don't know how Mystic Sanctuary works like this. Not how I wanted, unfortunately. That's fine. We can still hold up mana drain. For that. They could have a counter spell. They do have blue. Well, I gained 6. Well, let's see if I can hit a land. I can. So I've got 8, 11. I think I can do both. Yes, we definitely want to create one. And let's invasion. Only have one basic land left. And then we'll growth spiral. So a pretty good turn. Now hopefully they don't just wipe the board. Well, we play out the tracker. We don't actually have any basic land cards. It has just occurred to me. Actually, I don't really care about my invasion. We have enough mana. Tracks are having life gains an issue. And vigilance does she have? Yeah. So, they have 11. How much do we have? 5, 7, 10, 16, 32, 35. They affected it at 15. They need to be able to block 20. I don't think they can. Yeah, that's still game over. By a decent amount. Oh, we're against a 5-colour Shrine deck. Spring Heart Natuka obviously is very, very powerful. Well, I think we get down the tapped Mystic Sanctuary. And I think we play out the Nantuko. And then Fatal Passage will get us 2 triggers. Oh, Fortunately, I would have really liked to have waited for Scoot Swarm, but I think this is worth it. No, thank you. You can have a bird, though. Well, there's Scoot Swarm. And then Garenbrig. Oh, they're the same tokens. That really confused me. And hopefully we can find some lands off the top with Augur of Autumn. Or we could just Flare of Cultivation, obviously. Or we could do... do we need to do both? That way we can save Evolving Wilds for Tatyova. Oh, you... Yeah. That's a bummer. But we are about to draw a few cards with Evolving Wilds. Let's just get another island. We have 8 insects. No, I'll hold off with Flare Cultivation. We do have Covenant as well. I don't particularly want to bounce their entire board just because they'll get back binding the old gods. But it's something that obviously is a pretty good option. We don't have any way to be able to play additional lands yet. But I think we're going to have to do that. Well, I think we do this now. Before they... Well, no, actually. Their old binding is about to be destroyed. Well, sacrificed. We'll sacrifice a couple of insects. Now we do it. And Rivers Rebuke. I want to draw, so I think we hold off doing anything for now. Eight. Oh, we just have lethal. Yeah, even through all the removal, we managed to get there. I can say mono white enchantment aura based deck. Keep that. We basically need to get a 6 mana for Rivers Rebuke. But I don't think we're going to get there. I think I need to sack my Elvish Mystic to get an island, basically. Put the forest into play and we can play an untapped island. Yeah, I think we just have to Rivers Rebuke. Wow. Our opponent scooped. What we would have done that turn, I think, play Birds of Paradise, play the Mossborn Hydra, play Evolving Wilds, sack the Birds of Paradise to Flare of Cultivation to get another landfall trigger, and we could have held up Swansong for another enchantment, like all that glitters. But we were still in a pretty bad spot. You know, they're at 34 as well. It's probably not even a stage where we can one-shot them in the Hydra, but we wouldn't be too far off, I don't think. Oh, we go first. We have no ramp, but everything else is okay. Hopefully they play an artifact or enchantment we can destroy with Broken Bond. Yeah, I would like that, please. Play out Crucible of Worlds. So now we can just keep on replaying Windswept Heath. We'll put the Expanse. We crack them both. Well, I think we just get out Pock. And we can crack one on our opponent's turn. Actually, I suppose let's crack both now. So we can get down the Sawtooth. Oh, actually, no, let's fight their Goreclaw. And yeah, our opponent scoops it up. Pock is just ridiculously bonkers, especially with fetch lands. Well, this is better, I suppose. Why did it? Oh, it can't tap for anything apart from it. Let's get down the Augur of Autumn. We can't counter ninjutsu. So I think we just have to... Can't cast anything, unfortunately. Oh, could have countered that. Well, let's play out Nissa then. I don't want my lands being removed. No, I can't do anything about it. But at least I get a turn of the additional mana.
Behold, nature's true power.
I think I can time warp this turn. I can time warp this turn. I'll hold back for now. And I think I can time warp again. Oh no, I only have one way to play a land. Oh, no I don't. No, I've lots of ways to play lands. And yeah, our opponent scoops it up. We are not going infinite, but we can swing in on our next free turn for, well, our Hydra's going to have a huge amount of power and we're going to have a lot and a lot of tokens.